morning, namaste, sat sri akal, kem cho. Welcome back again to this eighth session on the series of webinar of ABC of Cybersecurity in association with iValue InfoSolution. Today we have our solution partner SentinelOne, and it's a demo day on XDR and EDR, which will be covered by none other than Mr. Biswabhanu Panda, who is a pre-sales team lead at iValue InfoSolution. After that, we'll be having an amazing fireside chat between Mr. Mitish Chitnavis, who is the CTO at iValue InfoSolution, Mr. Vikram BC, Technical Channel Business Manager, India and SAARC SentinelOne, and Ms. Mohinee Singh, who is the co-founder of CXO Junction. And not forgetting the exciting part of this webinar series, any guesses? I just want to see in the chat section, what are the guesses? One of the exciting part of this webinar. I think everyone, okay. It's Wheel of Fortune, okay. Bike, yeah. So I think everyone is aware. So by not forgetting the exciting giveaways, that is one lucky attendee who attends a minimum of 15 session of this ABC of cybersecurity is going to get a Royal Enfield motorcycle. And I'm damn sure that many of you are almost 50% covered in that particular criteria. And there will be like in every session we are giving away one OnePlus smartphone or to the lucky winner who is the LinkedIn commenter of the previous session. So every week, every session, we have the LinkedIn commenters. So make sure that you comment on the LinkedIn post of the today's session as well, so that your name get nominated in the next session for the Wheel of Fortune for the OnePlus smartphone. And also 3 lucky winners will be getting a CyberFrat Gold membership, which is a worth of rupees 3 lakhs based on the Kahoot quiz. So make sure that you attend this session very I would say grasping all the things. And I would request everyone to sit back, relax, and don't forget to stick with us till the end of this session, wherein we will be having this amazing giveaways. By the way, to introduce myself, my name is Iqbal Qureshi. For those who are not aware, I am a manager B2B operation at CXO Junction. Talking about CXO Junction, so CXO Junction is a platform for enterprise leaders to come and discuss the evolving scene of cybersecurity and risk management. In order to facilitate these discussions, we partner with multiple subject matter experts. Likewise, today we have partnered with iValue InfoSolutions. So talking about our associate partner, iValue InfoSolutions. So iValue InfoSolution is a premium technology service and solution aggregator. They adopt a consulting approach for enterprise digital transformation around application lifecycle management to address emerging needs in a hybrid multi-cloud model covering CAPEX and OPEX needs. iValue is proud to have served over 6,000 plus customers across industry vertical through 900 plus partners and direct alliances with 65 plus best breed technology OEMs. And the solution partner of today's webinar, as I already mentioned, is SentinelOne. So talking about SentinelOne, so SentinelOne is a leading provider of autonomous security solution for endpoint, cloud, and identity environments. Founded in 2013 by a team of cybersecurity and defense experts, SentinelOne revolutionized endpoint protection with a new AI power-packed approach. Their platform unifies prevention, detection, response, remediation, and forensics in a single, easy-to-use solution. Now, I would like to hand over the stage to Mr. Biswabhanu Panda to throw the light on the topic. Over to you, Mr. Biswabhanu.
Thank you, Iqbal. So hi, good morning, everyone. So what I will do is I'll just quickly, in 2-3 minutes, I'll cover what the product does, and then most probably I'll jump into the demo directly. So talking about SentinelOne, right? So we are the leader in Gartner. Also, we are performing very good in the MITRE Ingenuity attacks. And there are a couple of more recognitions we have got from the industry, and there is a lot of demand of our solution because our solution has capabilities of AI. So you would see many vendors out there who are were demanding or were saying that they have AI, right? So our AI is a little different. It has its own capabilities where we can detect threats using AI in pre-execution itself as well as in post-execution, right? So talking about the next generation antivirus capabilities, what we have that typically has a lot of goodness like multiple static AI engines which detect threats in pre-execution, multiple dynamic AI engines that detects threats in post-execution. And we also kill quarantine, but again, we go one step ahead where we are talking about remediation, means undoing the changes that has been done by a particular malicious process. We are also not stopping there. We are the only vendor in endpoint industry, EDR space, and EPP space to hold a patent to do ransomware rollback. So if at all there is any kind of attack or maybe ransomware attack, you can actually do a ransomware rollback with a single click. Okay, that's one of the biggest USPs of our solution. Now, talking about other features, what we have, so you might interact with a lot of OEMs who are saying this features having exploit prevention engine or behavior-based detection engine or AI is a feature of EDR. So EDR does not really talk about much about prevention tools because these are capabilities of next generation antivirus in our SentinelOne platform. When we are talking about EDR, there is a thing to catch. I've seen in many customer places they are actually missing or they are not so much clear on what exactly EDR does and how XDR can help customers. So what I will do is I'll try to cover everything in my demo, which will definitely help you to understand more about next generation AVs, EDRs, and XDRs. Right. So with that, I'm just sharing my screen. Well, if you can just confirm if you're able to see my
yes,
demo.
your screen is visible.
Can anyone confirm if they're...
Yes, your screen is visible.
All right. So first of all, this UI is very, very fast, very easy to manage. There are not complications in terms of creating policies and all. It's very easy to manage. So the moment you kind of get this access, you will have account level access, and the global is under control of obviously SentinelOne team. So first of all, this instances are hosted in AWS. And we also have an instance in India, right? So that is recently inaugurated, right? So there will be multiple instances as such. So part of prerequisites will say you all the details that these are the URLs or IP addresses that you have to whitelist. Now coming to the account level access, the moment you get the access, you will see your name here. And if at all you have a lot of branch officers or sister concerns, you have different administrators who has to manage all different sites for them. So we have, like, you can create a number of sites here. So you can see we have our engineer labs and a lot of partners who are working with us to do their demo or practice within them, right, within their team, right? So you can create a number of sites as such. You can give them expiry dates. You can say that a particular engineer can only visit or can manage a particular site, right? And within the site, if you see that you can create multiple groups, right? So this is a account. These are the sites. So let me log into maybe this engineer's lab. You would see this is a site, and under this site there are multiple groups, right? So every site and every group has a unique token. Now I'll talk about why the token is important, because when you are trying to install our agent, right, it requires a token. So the moment you provide respective tokens, that respective endpoint where you are trying to install will report to that particular group, right? Now, talking about manual installation, which is fine, you can give the tokens as per your requirement. But if you're talking about central deployment, that is also possible. So the packages are available here. So we have both Windows, Mac, Linux, Kubernetes, Windows Legacy. So we also support Windows XP and Server 2003. And SDKs are also available. But if I talk about Windows itself, there are 32-bit, 64-bit, both EXE and MSI packages are available. So as per your requirement, you can download this agent. And remember, I was talking about site token, right? Site token or group token. So individual group will also have the token. So while installing this, you have to make sure that you provide this site token. So once you do this process of providing the site token, it will start reporting to this console like this. Okay, so it will grab a lot of information from the particular endpoint, like what is the RAM processor, what is the private IP, public IP, what are different Ethernet adapters are available, right? Or network adapters are available. What are the associated MAC addresses, IP addresses? All of those information will be published here. Not only that, we'll also give you the entire list of different applications what the user is installed, right? So in this machine, you can see all the different applications that are installed by this user or on this machine. And there are a couple of things that you can do is, let's say you have a very high, 1,000 of endpoints, and you want to do highlight couple of endpoints are like, critical endpoints. So that's where there is a tag you can do. You can say that out of those 10 or 100 Linux servers or 100 Windows servers, those 10 tagged devices are very critical for me. So you can create groups based on those tags, or you can create different policy based on those tags, right? Now there is a beautiful action tab available here. From here you can take a lot of actions. Like if I can take few unique things, like you can remotely disconnect the device from network. You can reconnect the device to the network. You can fetch any kind of file. You can also take remote cell of a particular machine, right? So if you want to, let's say, we are talking about a scenario where the user is based out of somewhere else and your IT team is sitting in one single location, right? So you don't need to ask the user to come down to your office just to take remote. So you can directly take remote and maybe kill some processes, identify any malicious processes, or do whatever you want. So this is a CL access which will be given. And as well as you can run any kind of script from here as well, right? And you can remotely restart this machine, shut down this machines. You can initiate full disk scan, right? And you can disable the agent or certain functionalities in the agent from here itself. So this action tab is unique to every device, as well as if you want to take action on, let's say, devices. Maybe I just wanted to take action on a couple of devices which are starting from a lab, right? So I can just filter it out and go to the tab and take similar actions from here itself, right? So this is the functionality of the action tab, and you will see a lot of filters available when you are saying, large amount of endpoints you put in the console. There are a lot of filters available. You can do a filtration based on operating system, 32-bit, 64-bit, site-wise, group-wise, desktop, laptop servers, operating system-wise, and the list goes on and on and on, right? So this is how you kind of take actions. Now talking about policy, our policy is very straightforward, very easy to kind of manage. As I said, there is no much complications here. So I'm just doing a policy change in account level. So you can see it is under global, and this is the account, right? So initially, when we go for any kind of POC or deployments, what we do is we usually go for malicious threat detect and malicious threat protect and suspicious threat detect. Why that is important is every organization is unique, right? They might use certain custom built application. They might have certain legacy applications which we might detect as suspicious threats. So that's why we kind of understand the environment. We get to know what all different applications they are using, and based on the threats that we are getting, we can do certain amount of exclusions. And in exclusion also, there are a lot of interoperability settings that we can do. We can say, we don't, first of all, other like OEMs, right? They kind of whitelist certain folders. So I'm talking about that kind of exclusions where we can say that, let's say, reduce monitoring of, for example, IDM.exe, and reduce monitoring of IDM.exe as well as their child processes. We can also say that disable monitoring of IDM.exe and disable monitoring of IDM.exe and their child processes. So there are a lot of interoperability settings that you can do with a lot of different applications, right? So two categories of threat we have: malicious threat, suspicious threat. Now what action you want to take? Like malicious threat protect, and after maybe 1 month or so, you can also go for suspicious threat protect. Now, once we say protect, what action will be taken? First thing is kill the process, quarantine the files, remediate. That means whatever changes are being done by a malicious process, please undo those changes. Now this is where we are talking about ransomware rollback, right? Now, killing quarantine is fine, remediation is also fine, but let's say my IT policies that says that the moment there is a threat, I want an auto isolation. So if I enable this feature, what will happen is the moment there is a threat detected, the threat will be killed quarantine, as well as the device will be stopped. The internet, or not even internet, the host firewall will kick in, where we will disable the internet connectivity, as well as it will not be able to communicate to devices within the same subnet, right? So what essentially we are doing here is we are just isolating the device, so it will stop spreading the threat within the environment, as well as it will stop communicating to the hacker computer or the CNC server, right? Now, as I said earlier, we detect threats on both pre-execution and post-execution. So we are one of the vendors who are using AIs to detect threats even in pre-execution as well as post-execution. So these are different set of engines that we have. So moreover, multiple static AI engines for pre-execution, multiple dynamic AI engine for post-execution, right? Now, going down, we have entity-proof agent, so you cannot stop my services, you cannot uninstall my agents. Now, this snapshot is required to take ransomware rollback. So this tab or this function is is available with this option only, right? So if you want to have rollbacks, and then this option has to be turned on. And logging is related to the agent logs as well as Windows log. We can pull any kind of information from the endpoints and scan new agent. So what I can say is the moment the agent gets installed, please do a full day scan. So as I said, with normal traditional antivirus solutions, you get a lot of signatures, right? Data updates, and you go for a full day scan. In our case, we do a real-time scanning. You don't need to go for a full day scan unless there is a breach or there is an incident on a particular endpoint which you want to investigate further, right? So you can automatically start scanning the files that are there in the endpoint the moment our agent gets installed. And by doing so, because we are using AI, we will be able to identify a lot of the dormant threats, which typically the traditional antivirus solutions might not be able to detect, right? And this is the agent UI setting. So you might see the system tray icon here, right? The agent, let's say you don't want to see the agent to the user, so then you can disable that. And also different, let's say you want the user to see the agent, but you don't want them to see any kind of threats that you are mitigating, or SentinelOne is mitigating, or block devices that are getting blocked, right? So those things can be done. It's as per the organization requirement, we can do that. Now, coming to the most critical point about EDR, right? So this is about the next generation antivirus capabilities of SentinelOne. When we are talking about deep visibility, which is our EDR platform. So I'll just give you a small example. Let's say you got a Windows laptop or a Mac laptop or a Linux operating system, right? So all of them, they come with a lot of pre-built applications. Like if I consider Windows, it comes with Windows Media Player, it comes with PowerShell, it comes with command line, snipping tool, a lot of different applications. And you don't like Microsoft Edge, so you go ahead and install a Google Chrome or Mozilla, right? You don't like maybe, let's say, Windows Media Player. Then you go ahead and install your VLC Media Player, and the list goes on and on and on. You go and install SAP, you go and install Java, whatnot, whatever is required for your production, right? So essentially, what we are doing is we are just, maximizing our attack surface. So if I had only 5 applications, the hacker has to compromise those 5 applications. But when I have set of applications, like 50 set of applications, then I'm just increasing my attack surface, and I'm giving a platform for the hacker to identify any loopholes in 50 odd applications, right? So which is inevitable. You cannot avoid them from happening. So this is very important when we are talking about EDR. EDR talks about giving you the visibility of what's happening on your endpoint. We are talking about endpoint telemetry here. So what happens is if you enable this feature, irrespective of as a user, you are doing something, you are running certain processes, or let's say there are certain scripts you are executing, but without your information, there are a lot of things happening, right? Java client is checking for updates, Chrome is checking for updates, VLC is checking for updates, and there are a lot of things that happens without your notification, right? Without your intent. So those are important to understand, because when there is a breach, you might need to do investigation, right? So if you don't have this visibility, you really cannot do any kind of investigation, right? And if you wanted to really do, then you have to hire a professional, and then there is a lengthy process, and there's a lot of money involved in that as well, right? So what happens when you enable this feature is every process, every cross process, every IP communication, every DNS communication, every URL, every file that the user open, or any kind of process that is opening, any registry changes, any command scripts are getting executed, and DLLs getting loaded, everything will be monitored to our data lake, right? So if the agent is online, there is something going on without, as a user, you're doing something, or a pre-built application of Windows is doing something, or a package of Linux Mac is doing something, or a third-party application package is doing something, we monitor each and everything. And then we store into our data lake. Now, why that is important? Let's say tomorrow there is a again scenario like WannaCry or some global incident, right? Where there is a something like Asia, right? It is happening across the world. Now you wanted to investigate that any of my endpoint is infected by such threats. So this will help you, so that we can say that, okay, let's say you got a Chinese IP address to investigate, right? So you can say that, let me know how many devices went to this particular or communicated to this particular IP address or URL, or in how many machines this particular process is there, or this particular script was executed, right? Based on whatever IOCs you get, right? So you can just write a query saying that, let me know who all communicated to this particular IP address. So we'll give you a result of the devices as well as what was the parent process which initiated that particular transaction or that particular communication, right? Not only that, just think you were doing an investigation for a URL or maybe IP address, but we are able to give you a process which was responsible. Now, doing so, you also identified a particular suspicious or malicious process, right? Now, let's say you wanted to investigate further and wanted to know in how many machines this process was executed, right? So such kind of forensics can be done, and we are not stopping there. We also allow you to create your own custom build application. Custom build policies. When I say custom build policies, these are like extent based policies. I'll give you an example, maybe that will just easily, it will be easy to understand. Let's say you have certain critical Linux servers, okay? And there is a particular version of WinSCP, which as per your organization is malicious, or you don't want them or any of the user to, you want to allow WinSCP, but you don't want any of the user to log into those critical Linux servers using WinSCP. In that scenario, what you can do is you can create custom rules saying that if source process is WinSCP and destination IP addresses those 10 critical Linux machines, right? Please treat this as a malicious process or suspicious process and take the action accordingly, right? And this is just to start. You can also create policies with publisher names. A lot of things you can do with the star custom rule. So this is very important, and I'll also try to demonstrate that particular console as well, which will make it easier to understand. And scrolling down, we also have auto decommissioning feature where you can say if the agent is not communicating to my management console for 30 days or 90 days as per your organization need, just go ahead and disable the, just go ahead and decommission the endpoint. So while doing so, what happens is your license count will increase, because every organization there will be 10 people coming, going. Sometimes your IT team will forget to format the system, and unnecessarily they'll be reporting to the console and they'll be consuming your licenses, right? So to avoid that, we have this decommissioning feature as well. Now this is the main policy that we have. Now what happens is the moment you create multiple sites, this policy will be inherited to all sites. Now, if at all you want to disable the inheritance, you can disable that. But as per my practice, what I do is like I just leave it like this. And if there are any kind of sort of special requirement for a group, then I disable the inheritance, and then I can kind of play around with this. Now coming to blacklisting, blacklisting can be done using SH1 value, but we can also do subprefixes MD5 using star custom rule, which I've already explained, right? Now, exclusions I was talking about earlier. So we have a pre-built exclusion catalog. So if these are like somewhere around 70 odd applications that we can coexist with. So let's say you have a customer who says, I want to use McAfee, but I want to use your EDR, right? So we can coexist with McAfee, we can coexist with, let's say, Cisco AMP and Symantec and whatnot, right? So we can coexist with them as well. And let's say you want to create any kind of exclusions, you can do that using custom application HASS, path, certificate, file type, browser exclusions can be done. But largely we do path-based exclusions, right? So when I talk about path-based exclusions, I already explained there are a lot of interoperability settings that we do where we can see just reduce monitoring, don't disable, reduce monitoring of IDM.exe, reduce monitoring of IDM.exe as well as their child processes, disable monitoring of IDM.exe, disable monitoring of IDM.exe as well as their child process. So if you have certain applications which are very critical production related, then you can go for, and we are detecting that as suspicious threat or a malicious threat, and you don't want us to scan such things, then you can go for performance focused extended. But let's say you have a third party application which maybe you have to use, but that's not really very critical and you cannot trust them, right? So that's why you can go for reduced monitoring of the parent process or so on and so forth, right? Now coming to firewall rules, yeah, you can create a number of firewall rules based on source, destination, ports, protocols, FPD, and IP address, and all that. And I was talking about quarantine, right? Auto isolation and manual isolation of devices. So we can also say that during that isolation, what all IP communications you want to allow, right? So those things are also possible. And now coming to USB control, Bluetooth control, so we can give read-write access to or read-only access to. Let me show you. USB devices based on USB classes, vendor IDs like HP, product IDs like a particular model of a pen drive or a printer, serial number, which are unique to a particular USB device, right? So you can create such rules and say, give read-write access or give read-only access or completely block devices based on all these parameters. Now, if I go and these are the classes what I have, and I can say just completely block mass storage devices. And so in this case, all the mass storage devices will be blocked. Now, let me show you a couple of rules that exist. So if you see here, first rule we are saying that just block all mass storage devices. Next rule we are saying block mass storage devices in the first rule, but only allow the specific hard drive with this serial number to work, and this particular pen drive with this serial number to work, right? And this particular pen drive with this serial number to work. Now you don't need to run for the pen drive serial numbers and all, because in our activity tab by default we capture all the devices. You can see serial number, class, vendor ID, product ID, all those information. So you can just copy from here and go to the policy and create a policy saying that allow this device based on this serial number, right? Now, moving ahead, remember we were able to identify the applications, right? So there is a tab available where we can show you what all applications you have inside your environment, as well as what all different vulnerabilities you have, right? So in this organization, you can see, or in this particular tenant, you can see that there are 173 different critical vulnerable applications, 174 high vulnerable applications. Now the vulnerability database integration and MITRE integration is by default there on the console. VirusTotal integration is there as well. So if you want to know more about the vulnerability, you can just go to the particular CV and click, and it will actually take you to the vulnerability database as well as MITRE database, where they will explain more about this particular vulnerability, right? Now, there is a activity tab where malware related, mitigation related, threat management related, operation related, administrative related, USB related, all those activities are stored here, okay? And as I was showing you the information you can grab from here. Now, reports can be generated on demand and can be scheduled. There are different kind of reports, right? I'll just show you, these are the different kind of reports we have. This can be scheduled and can be sent to your email address automatically, as well as it can be generated on demand. Now, if I talk about settings, like these are related to the timeout settings and complication of password and all, SSO is possible. Now, notifications can be sent to your syslog server or SIEM server. It could be hosted in AWS or could be on premises, and as well as email notifications can be sent, right? So you can choose and pick what kind of notifications you want to send to your syslog and what kind of notification you want to receive over email. So by default, I think these are very relevant malware related or mitigation related emails you should get over email, right? So you can take all those and go to the recipients and provide your email addresses. So the moment such incident happens, you will automatically start getting a notification over your email, right? Now, talking about SMTP integration, by default you get this, but if you want to do your own SMTP integration, you can do that. Syslog integration with SIEM, you can see this is already integrated with a SaaS-based SIEM solution. SSO integrations are here. Now, if at all you are using AWS, then we can also onboard them. Azure as well, we can onboard, right? Now, taking you to the incident tab, which is most of the time we are going to spend time here. And this is, let me show you a couple of the things that we have identified here. Right, so you can see overall count of mitigated threat, not mitigated threat, whitelisted ones, right? You can also see, which engine detected. So you can see most of the threats are being detected by the strategy engine only. Behavior-based detections are 233, malware detections are 163. User-defined blacklist threats. So this is how you can identify all the threats. You can also see ransomwares, right? So when we identify something, right, we will give you the entire forensics about it as well. So let me show you a recent threat, Prime PDF. Why we detected this as a threat? Because this is a PUA, and we have detected this during our folder scan. And this is a pre-execution detection, right? Static detection itself. And these are the information about the SAR1 value, who's the publisher, and all of that information. Now, if you want to go to VirusTotal, as I said earlier, it is already there. The integration is already there, so you can just directly navigate and see what other has to say about this particular threat, right? And you can also see the path and all that, and the infected machine. Let me show you certain critical threats, maybe. Behavior-based will be more relevant. right? So this is something we detected, right? So if I go here, so it says this is the path, this is the command line which was used, this is the user who logged in, and you can see there is no publisher name, no signing authority, and the path also we were not able to identify. And this was obviously the user has executed from somewhere, and this is the SAVN value. Now, if I go to virus total, let's see what it says. No, virus total has not detected anything on this, but we detected this as the behavior detection and qualified this as a ransomware attack. And remember, we have a lot of integrations. So this is an integration we have done with Zscaler, where it says the Zscaler has no idea about it. But look at the Mindray technique that we could identify from this particular behavior. So it was trying to do information stealing. It was trying to be evasive. It was doing a ransomware. It was also trying to persistent. So the Mindray integration is there. So if you want to know more about this particular technique, you can just click here and go to the respective technique which was used in this attack, right? So this is very much important, because I see a lot of vendors in the industry who are there in the industry for quite a long time. They don't have such kind of integration, virus total integration, and this Mindray integration, which will actually help you to understand more about the particular threat, right? Now, if I can go to this, let me see, this is others 30, right? So if I can go to the explore button, it will actually show me the entire, this is a vendor setup, okay? Obviously, right? So this is how we can identify from where it started, how it is going, and what happened to the particular system, right? So let me just go to bed. Right. So you can see from here that when this particular Sophos setup was started, essentially these are the different processes that get triggered, and these are the different files that are being accessed, right? Now, if I want to start from here, and if you click here, it will show you what all different things were happening during this particular process execution. So you can see there are different indicators we have observed, and there are two network communications also with source IP, destination IP, the source port, destination IP, destination port, etc., right? Now, similarly, you can do a lot of things from here, right? And let's say you are done with your understanding and you want to do some action on this, so you can just go to the action, mitigation action, kill, quarantine, remediate. We cannot quarantine because this file must not be there. The user might have deleted, but yeah, everything is possible here. Right, so this gives you a lot of information, insights about threats, and you can easily identify from where it went wrong and how you should tackle this incident. Right, this is one more where you can see the threat indicator is there and XDR. So what virus total? So we have done a XDR integration with virus total. So we are by default grabbing the threat related information from virus total as well. This is a subscription. You obviously, if you're talking about XDR, you have a lot of stuff, right? So this is a paid subscription which we have integrated, right? So this is what virus total is to say is not present in virus total, right? But we detect it as a ransomware, right? So that's how it is. That's about the incident tab. Now, if I can take you to the visibility tab, this is what EDR, right? So I'm just starting from beginning. Let's say you don't know what exactly this is. Let me show you. Let's say you want to know in last 1 hour what all things were happening in my environment. I'll just go to 48 hours because this is a lab. I am expecting there will be a very less amount of traffic. So I'm just going for 48 hours. So remember in policy EDR section, we were grabbing a lot of information about processes, child processes, IP communication, login, logout, return scripts, everything that happens on your machine, right? With pre-built application, third-party application. So that is stored in my data lake. So I'm grabbing those information from there. This is a simple query, which is already, so these are like pre-built queries, which are already available. These are certain advanced queries. You can also edit those advanced queries. These are S1 research stream queries, and these are recent queries which you executed within the environment, right? So you can see I got some 19,000 results, and there were certain 2,000 times there were processes executed. Those processes started somewhere around 200 cross processes, and we have observed certain suspicious indicators as well. And so files were accessed, network communications, DNS communication, URL request, registry changes, and DLLs are being called login, logout, and several tasks which are executed, right? So let me show you one interesting stuff here. Is let's say you want to investigate from where it went wrong, or let's say I wanted to know using PowerShell, PowerPoint. cycle is not there. So let's say command line, right? So let's focus on command line. You wanted to see what all things were happening in command line, right? So I just selected command line. You see this query language. I'm just adding this to the query language, right? And I'll go a little further, 48 days, and run a query. This could be, instead of cmd.exe, this could be PowerShell.exe, this could be anydays.exe, this could be anything that you want to investigate, right? So it is just querying the data lake to get information in last 14 days, in how many, what all things were happening inside my environment using command line, right? So you can see this was executed almost 17,000 times, right? And these are the certain indicators we observed. And obviously, you can see all the different endpoints as well. There is a filter available, so you can see on all these machines any entity or any disk or command line or PowerShell was executed. And if you want to just click here and scroll a bit down, because the Zoom details are just popping up. So if you scroll down, I hope you guys can see. So you will also be able to see the exact command line which was used, and all the hash values obviously associated with this. And you can see the user has used ping command here, and this was trying to do a ping. Yeah, that's fine. So Microsoft verified application and all that, right? So in this case, this is how you can identify. And then let's say you want to take action, or let's say you want to say, using command line, let me know this particular registry changes are done and how many machines, right? So let me add this registry, right? So now this will show me that using command line, this particular registry was created or not, right? So you can see I got 49 results, and on those, those 49, 49 times using command line, this registry was created, right? And I can also see the host name, only one. Now let's say you want to create a custom role. You, as per your understanding or your threat hunting, you say that this is something I created, and I don't want this to happen again in my environment. So I will create a rule saying that block command to create registry changes, right? So I'll just click this as a critical threat, and I'll make it as permanent. Now I'll just click next, and you can see it says that where you want to apply. So this is the query language which got built, right, during my threat hunting, and I can say this is applied to the entire account or a particular site, right? I'll just apply this to entire account. Next, and what kind of threat I want to categorize. Let's say I want to mark this as a threat and malicious threat, right? And then also I want to do a network quarantine. If such threats are happening, automatically disconnect the device from network, right? So, and then save it, activate and save it. So what happens is this gives you a lot of, I would say, like capability to create your own rule, because every environment is different. When we are talking about SOC, skills of different set of skills of different analysts, they want to do a lot of stuff with the EDR tool, and unfortunately, there are a lot of EDR vendors which are not able to do so, right? So that will help you a lot. Now, these are the features of EDR I have spoken about. Now, remember, in EDR, what we are collecting, we are just collecting telemetry from endpoints, right? And storing into our data lake, right? Now, I'll just take you to the XDR tab. Now, XDR, before taking you to the XDR tab, let me kind of explain this, okay? So nowadays, I've had a lot of calls with a lot of customers, so they are expecting XDR. They want XDR, but to be very honest, when we go and ask what exactly is XDR, what is their understanding, they end up saying that we want AI-based detection, AI-based detection, behavior-based detection, behavior-based detection, IOSD-based, IOA-based, but these are all capabilities of the next generation antivirus. Now, essentially what XDR talks about is, it talks about collecting logs not only from the EDR, it also talks about taking logs from different set of solutions that you might be using, right? It can take log from your SIEM, from your NDRs, your network telemetry solutions. It can integrate with a lot of threat intelligence. It can integrate with SOAR to take action on your on-premises solutions. And there are a lot of API integrations we can do with a lot of SaaS-based application, maybe Nextcode, maybe Zscaler, maybe Forcepoint, whatnot, right? The customer might have a lot of different SaaS-based application, on-premise applications that are hosted in public cloud. So we are talking about not only taking EDR or endpoint telemetry to the data lake, we are also essentially talking about taking all different logs to the data lake and giving a single platform where you can understand from where it started, how it went. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say when we are talking about doing a breach investigation, on endpoints, EDR can do that. But let's say in a breach, there is a CCTV which was associated, right? Or maybe a access card which was executed, or the access card machine, right? Or maybe a printer which was this thing where I cannot really install my agent. And there are a lot of such kind of devices available in the environment in which we cannot install the agents, right? Now that's where the network telemetry kicks in. I need to have visibility. Then only I can do proper investigation or do proper threat hunting to identify from where it went wrong, right? So that's what. So XDR talks about not only taking endpoint telemetry, network telemetry, as well as seeing logs or critical devices logs. It talks about integration with your SaaS applications, with your public cloud infrastructure, and doing automated action, right? So you get a platform, you do your threat hunting, you create a rule saying that if such action is happening, please authorize that API to say Zscaler or Netscope to block that IP, right? Or let's say any Haswell you want to block, obviously the EDR can do that. But let's say you want to block a user in your Active Directory, right, which is on premises, then the SOAR will kick in, right? So such kind of rules can be created. So I'll just take you to the XDR mode now, right? So this is the XDR platform. Okay, so this is currently fetching only EDR logs, but I can also fetch XDR logs, all data lakes. But remember, if I don't have a packet capture or a network telemetry solution, I really cannot get the traffic here, right? So in order to achieve XDR, you need to have a lot of solutions. We have to see how we can integrate with them and what best we can do, right? So it's a journey. It's not a product. It's a platform, right? So you have to have a lot of things here. Now, earlier I was just collecting EDR data. Now I'm collecting the entire data, right? So you can see the similar set of information: account ID, user ID. It's really complicated. It's not really easy. Even I'm learning every day this. And there are also custom built dashboards. You can create beautiful dashboards like how your SIEM is doing, right? Or your telemetry solutions does. And you can also create your star custom rules, which I was explaining, right? We can authorize somebody to do some action, right? So that's what is XDR. And there are a lot of enhancements we have done. I'm not sure how much time do I have, but we also have solutions with regards to identity deception. And we also have solution which is called Ranger, which typically identifies different devices that are connected to the network. Let me show you that as well. So you can see there are 100 endpoints in my on this account, but at the same time, we were able to identify another 659 Windows machines, Linux machines, Apple devices, which is there in my environment, but the agent is not installed, right? And it can also identify CCTV cameras, printers, gaming consoles, and all of that, right? So this is a little different. This is how we identify wrong devices, right? And this is something you get with the platform, just to identify assets, but we go steps ahead where we are talking about creating isolation between your IT/OT environment and your production related environment, right? So you can see that there are some 31% devices where we cannot install agent. There are only 18% of endpoints where we have installed the agent, and some 9% devices we are unable to identify, and these are unsecure devices, right? So you can see workstations, Windows, operating system wise, and you can do a lot of filters as well, and make it, a lot of information will give you the private IP, the operating system, a lot of information. We can also deploy agent on supported operating system, right? So for that, there is a process, obviously. So I can just say that deploy the agent or create isolation, just block this device. None of my device or critical devices should be able to communicate with this device, right? And or maybe deploy the agent, right? Or tag this device as a CCTV camera or whatnot, right? So you can do a lot of stuff here, and we can also identify different kind of networks that your environment is on, like on the different subnets. There are a lot of things we can do here as well. And there is a new tab or a different tab which is RSO. This is also an add-on on top of the product where we can run any kind of script on n number of machines to give you that output. We can acquire memory forensics, or we can acquire, let's say, memory, right? We can do that as well. We can acquire full hard drive. So all those incident response kind of practices, right? So you can run any kind of scripts here using the RSO available as an add-on with the platform, right? So I think I'm good. And just last, dashboards are also available. Obviously, these dashboards are customizable. You can create your own dashboard, and things are possible. Yeah, so that's how it is. I'm good. And one more step I'll just cover, marketplace, where we are talking about XDR integrations, right? So these are some easy integrations, I would say, because the documentation and everything is available from here itself. So if you're talking about, let's say, SIEM integration, so AWS Security Hub integration, Securonix, Curadar, Splunk integrations are by default there. So many SOAR integrations are also there, including Demisto, Simplify. And if I talk about maybe sandboxing, these are all different sandboxing solutions that are already integrated. You can see we have done Alien Labs, which takes sandboxing integration, Recorded Future sandboxing integration, right? So these are obviously you have to pay separately. These are not available from us. You have to go to them and subscribe for this kind of solutions. And yeah, so this kind of integrations are also possible in our platform, right? I'm done. Is there any questions that I can answer? Iqbal, you want to come here?
Yes, Biswabhanu. Thank you so much for the demo. I hope that was very fruitful for all the audience over here. The Q&A we will be taking after the Fireside Chat. So now we'll be starting with the Fireside Chat. I request Mohinee Singh to take over from here.
Thank you, Iqbal. So hi, everyone. Myself, Mohinee Singh, co-founder from CXO Junction. So after this wonderful demonstration, I believe that, a lot of people have many questions on this. And since ADR is crucial in cybersecurity, so right now to have some, discussion on this, I would like to ask the two gentlemen to join this platform, which is Mr. Mitish Chitnavis, who is the CTO of iValue InfoSolutions, and Vikram BC, who is a technical channel business manager from Indian SAARC from SentinelOne. So thank you, Vikram and Mitish, for joining. So before I begin, can we please, yes, so we have stopped sharing the screen. So Vikram, actually, I would like to start with you. According to you, what are the core benefits of implementing an EDR solution in today's cybersecurity landscape?
Yeah. So if you see today's cybersecurity landscape, right, most of the end users are not sticking towards the perimeter environment. Like if you think like 10 years or 15 years back, so during that time, so most of the security used to be live within the perimeter. Like people used to use most of the desktop sort of a platform in order to do their daily activities. So over there, we used to have a lot of security from the level of firewall to the load balancer, etc., etc. But today's world, the things has become very flexible, and people have been moving into a different places with respect to the data and the document, which belongs to a certain organization. And for an example, today, just take an example of my engagement itself. So I'm sitting in a hotel where I'm connected to the hotel Wi-Fi, where I don't know what is the security of this particular hotel or the organization, right? So which might expose completely about my data or my connectivity or a lot of other things. So today, why we've been like moving to the EDR is a good option because if you see the like older technology, what we call it as an antivirus, or I would like to call them as our forefathers, right? So basically they used to use a third-party intelligence in order to identify or understand any sort of a threat landscape. So the antivirus basically talks about the reactive sort of a mechanism when we talk about the cybersecurity posture itself, not only from the malware detection or anything, but even when we talk about the any other further investigation purpose or any sort of incident analysis, etc. So considering those things, so the EDR technology concept itself talks about the proactive reaction sort of an detection and capability rather than doing the reactive sort of engagement, right? So because if I'm a hacker, I will be not using the same malicious activity or the attack simulation in order to target any sort of organization. So for example, if you've been already identify any sort of attack which has been thrown by my side, so I'll be not going to use the same thing. So there'll be a new sort of attack which I'll be created. So the antivirus or any other different technology which were residing from the endpoint perspective were like lacking with this certain capability, right? So that is where the EDR technology plays a very lot of the role. So most of the people think that EDR is just a replacement of the AV, but it is not so. Why? Because EDR gives you a much more visibility and a better sort of engagement with respect to what is happening from the host level itself. Because at the end of the day, whatever the security that you're going to implement at the host level, but if the user gives up certain information, then you're gone. So in order to have the better visibility, so EDR basically provides the complete control and the understanding about what is happening from the host level. So, and how do we do that? So basically we rely on the behavioral intrusions as well as the AI-driven sort of a technology, which has been embedded as a part of a different vendor landscape. Because why I say this, most of the EDR works in a different manner. None of the EDR vendors works in a similar way, unless like an antivirus platform. So when we talk about the EDR, so everybody talks in a different manner and a different approach. So we need to understand what we are looking into from the perspective of the technology itself. So why I'm telling you this, because like in 2014 or 2015, EDR was a buzzword and people did not believe in the AI saying that it can do this sort of an engagement or the detection or the capability what currently we see from the technology perspective. And today also, if you see from the XDR perspective, there is a lot of buzzword and there are like a lot of confusion from the XDR as a platform itself. So that's gives you a better sort of a visibility as well as a technology integration going forward, which might replace the SIM. So it might happen, but I'm not sure. So currently it's in a maturity level. So that is what the EDR going to bring in to the complete platform and gives you a better visibility and engagement with the automation. And also it's going to like try to neutralize the human intervention, because we as a human, we lack in the speed of the communication where things happens at the mission speed. So in order to keep up at the mission speed, so I believe like EDR is a better technology from the security as a posture.
Definitely. So thank you for this. With continuation to that, I would like to know from you, how has the role of EDR evolved in the emergence of more sophisticated cyber threat?
Yeah. So one particular pointer what I would like to highlight is that basically the technology grows very rapidly within the market or within the industry itself. And when we talk about the cybersecurity, which is a core of any sort of industry in today's world, because name it, whether it's a BSFI or the manufacturing sector or even the own core IT industries, so everybody depends on a certain technologies, which is very much required. And if you see from the EDR perspective, so as I mentioned you earlier, so just if we go not even a longer period ago, like just 10 years back, so EDR was a buzzword, nobody believed it. And the EDR had struggled between 14 to till 17 because of the binary sequence analysis and everything. And there was a lot of behavior sort of a detection, which was creating a lot of false positive and all those things. But if you see in the today's world, EDRs are the center of the cybersecurity. It has become a center of the cybersecurity. Earlier, it was a SIM or the source sort of a platform. But today, if you see, people are looking for a guy who know how to do a threat hunting or the malware analysis and so on. So this particular concepts of the engagement itself came out of the EDR as a technology. And if you completely see in today's world as a EDR, so people are just going ahead and evaluating and like trying to adopt this particular EDR as a platform itself. Like earlier, it was just a behavior sort of a detection, and later on it got evolved into saying that I can do a certain level of a scanning where I can utilize the algorithms in order to identify and understand what is happening from your environment. And earlier, it was only a threat detection and protection sort of a prevention architecture, what the EDRs had. But today, if you see, we have a device control, we have the data, like a communication process engagement. We can provide you a better visibility about which guy is doing what sort of like execution with respect to a certain organization. For an example, somebody would have been told you saying that don't log into the Gmail or something. But if he guys goes and does that, so EDR gives you a visibility about this guy is doing so and so activity. visibility. So from just like a binary sequence threat detection and a protection parameter, today we can provide you a complete forensic information with respect to what should have been happened if you have them executed certain set of a malicious code or something. So the EDR has been came a very long way, and the EDRs are providing a complete visibility from the host level. But I believe today it's a XDR game which is gonna like a pop up from the technology perspective, because we need to correlate with respect to the other technology, like it might be our CASB or it might be our identity platform, etc. So this would give you a better posture to understand from the not only from the EDR, from the other third party also, how we can leverage this EDR's capability, because EDRs provides actual event logs compared to the any other technology. In the sense, you might pull a certain log information, but you require a lot of analysis on the implementation of the controllers before you pull out any sort of incident analysis. But from the EDR perspective, so they will give you a complete end-to-end forensic details. So earlier stage of the EDR was not able to give you this, and they used to create a lot of false positive because of binary sort of analysis. But today those things has been fine-tuned, and the algorithms has been evolved in a very greater manner, and the approach where they can have the ability of identifying, understanding which is a core host applications, which are not a core host applications, and which have been home driven applications and which are not, and how we can like fine tune this particular posture. So the EDR has given you a complete visibility of a structure, what you can do. Earlier, it was only like just a protect and detect. So, but it is giving you a next level sort of a visibility that what could have been done better in order to adopt a better security architecture or the posture for the any infrastructure.
Okay, okay. That's very insightful. So with this, I would like to ask you, Mitish, could you share a real world success story where an EDR solution played a vital role in mitigating a cyber attack?
Right, thanks. Thanks, Mohinee, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I think there are a lot of cases where EDR has really helped, but without naming the customer, I would like to specify that the largest government vertical and a customer who is absolutely pivotal to India's entire cyber security and IT infrastructure has been using the EDR across almost, I would say, starting with 50,000 endpoints to growing up to about lakhs of endpoints. But that has been the success story, we believe. And if we look at it, the primary things obviously are threats. We are all living in world of threats, and we have to mitigate those threats. So under critical infra for a government, it's pivotal for having an EDR solution, and ensuring that the ransomware attacks, phishing attacks, advanced persistent attacks or threats that exist today in the world are mitigated, especially for known. As we know, it is very easy to do signature based, which any AV does it, and it's very simple, and it has been there right from 1994. When the first antivirus was born within India, right? So signature-based, those days are gone. The threats have changed. The vectors have changed. They've all become more AI-enabled and threats as well. And we have to deal with unknowns. So as rightly said, proactive management of that EDR, and EDR helps us in doing that proactive management and helps us overall with speed. Today, it is needed that we identify the threats, the issues that reside in our network, which are at speed, at machine speed, right? And that's where EDR totally comes into picture, so that we can identify many of those threats, especially now moving to integrating with MITRE ATT&CK frameworks and mitigating lateral movements, and so on and so forth. Assuming that we have an attacker inside and we have the malicious code or a malware sitting inside. So known, unknown, all of that, where the primary objectives of this particular customer, and that's how we were able to project, implement, and help him to safeguard his own infrastructure as well as country's infrastructure per se.
Fair enough. So what are the key considerations organizations should keep in mind when selecting an EDR and implementing an EDR solution?
So I think, as I said, EDR has become a pivotal tool in the modern cybersecurity arsenal. Okay, it's very critical to have an EDR. Every organization should have an EDR and not rely only on signature based. Okay, so the threats are changing. If you look at advanced threat landscapes, modern threats, they're all changing. They're all like if a security OEM or a EDR or any security tool is talking of AI and AI being implemented for fast visibility, incident response, rapid response, and all of that. Similarly, even the attackers and the hackers and all these guys are using, and they also are aware of these AI tools, and they are embedding that into their own way of operations, right? So the whole point is how ready we are. So we have to look at all these aspects in terms of ATL, advanced threat landscape. We have to look at what is real-time monitoring, how deep can I go into the telemetry, identify what's happening, and the EDR should alert me at machine speed per se. How can I do forensics investigations or using that telemetry and the reports and reports that are today available? Visibility across all endpoints now becomes absolutely critical. And I believe not only endpoints, we can look at the server side of the whole thing as well. So some of these aspects now become absolutely critical. And the last but not the least would be integration with third-party systems, third-party other systems like SIEM and any other tools and XDRs and all of that world. Because at the end of the day, not that one product does everything, but we have to collaboratively work and complement other solutions, integrate the telemetry, and now start reporting it out, which then at end of the day provides a better information security or cybersecurity posture for me as a customer, my company. And those are the factors that we should look at when buying an EDR, implementing an EDR. And the last part is obviously ease of use, because at end of the day, we have to manage, we have to have that ease of use within the console and so on and so forth. So my colleague, you saw Biswa doing a great job with the console, just because it is so easy to use. Okay, anybody should be able to identify and easy to use an EDR and EDR functions, easy to configure and easy to manage at end of the day. So one side is implementation, other side is sustenance, managing it, reporting it out, taking actions on it. Those are, I think, the last part would be the priority for any EDR implementation or selecting an EDR person.
Right. Amazing. Thank you for this amazing insights. I think we have some questions which the audience have put. So I'll take those as well. So Abhishek Mathur is asking, can SentinelOne work with EOL operating systems with Windows 2012, etc.?
Yeah, so I'll take that one. Yeah, so currently, if you see from the platform supporting perspective, SentinelOne is the only vendor who is supporting like very old sort of workstations, like from the XP to Windows 7, Windows 8. So we do support all the platforms. So the only thing what we would request from the engagement is that they have to predefinedly provide us the details about the platform, because currently we are majorly focused, I mean, say, from the management console perspective, you will have a latest agents. But when we talk about the end of life platforms or something, so we would like to update that particular agent within the management console. So in that particular scenario, we would request any of the audience to provide us this particular details so that we can support them with that particular agent, which can work on that particular operating system.
Okay. Fair enough. So the next question has come from Manish Sahu, who says, does your EDR also inspect cloud apps, emails, or it is only used for endpoint device protection from suspicious behavior?
Okay. So currently, yes, we do support the cloud workloads, as well as we do have a dedicated agents for the Kubernetes containers on the Dockers. Of course, we provide a complete visibility with respect to like all the incident and the threat landscape, as well as the forensic detail, irrespective of the instances which are belongs to the cloud environment. But apart from when you talk about the email, right? So again, it depends on the email security. So if some sort of a macro attached sort of a malicious file comes via the email, and if it is not able to identify by the email gateway, and once it lands on the host level or a host user, so we have a capability of detecting those sort of a malicious file. So again, at the email level, we cannot do why, because we don't have an email like security sort of a platform. But so once a user downloads that particular malicious file from the email server, so once it lands at the host desk or a device or the hardware, so we have that ability of detecting them and mitigating them at that particular level itself.
Okay. So the next question is from Malini Rao, who says, are fireless malware identified by EDR?
Yes, yeah. So that is completely a different concept itself, and it goes for a very long. So basically, I'll just give you a quick sort of like a cue on how SentinelOne does that. So basically, we have a separate dedicated algorithms which has been embedded within the agent, so which talks about the binary sequence analysis as well as the behavior analysis. And this particular AI-driven analysis have a ability of detecting any sort of a fileless attacks which has been executed against the host. So if you require a much more detailed information, so please get in touch with the team iValue or ourselves. So we will help you in addressing that.
Definitely. So I'll just take one last question, and then, I'll request all the participants that we are going to roll out a feedback form. It is requested that you put all the questions there, and we can actually, the Sentinel team can actually, revert on that. So the last question which I see is, solution is available on only cloud-based or non-prem as well?
We do support both cloud as well as on-prem. So very recently, we launched our India data center, so which has been based out of Bombay. So from the data retention or a data collection sort of a compliance issues, so which has been like addressed. So all the data will be residing within India. But at the same time, we do come across the infrastructure which has been completely isolated due to the certain internal compliances or standard issues. So for them, of course, we can like offer them the on-premises platform. We do have an on-prem platform.
Okay, great. So thank you, Mitish, and thank you, Vikram, for such an insightful answers